The CEO suddenly noticed that his wife, who always seemed carefree, did not even dare to serve herself food during meals. Even if a single grain of rice fell onto the table, she would quietly pick it up and put it into her mouth. At first, the man thought she was just pretending to look pitiful, so he did not pay much attention to it. But then, when the nanny simply entered the room carrying food, she immediately stood up in fear, as if someone was always tormenting her. That was when the man realized that something was wrong. He immediately ordered his assistant to find out the whole truth. When the CEO watched the surveillance footage, he finally understood that he had misunderstood his wife. In reality, that cunning woman had deliberately started the arguments. But instead, he had blamed his own wife. He had convinced himself that his wife was creating trouble for no reason. He had even scolded her in front of everyone. The remorseful man specially bought his wife, her favorite Cheongsam, so he could apologize to her and fix everything between them. But she did not wear the dress he had given her. Instead, she arrived at the banquet wearing a cheap evening gown. Because she was no longer the rich and arrogant girl she used to be, the constant abuse she had suffered in prison over the past few years had completely destroyed her pride and confidence. The girl she once was would openly confess her love to him. Sometimes she would even play little tricks in front of her rivals. Although the man always spoke to her with hatred, the softness in his eyes for her was obvious. He had always protected her silently. But one accident destroyed everything. That day, he saw his wife being bullied. But because of a misunderstanding, he thought she was only pretending to attract his attention, so he ignored her cries for help. In the end, her desperate struggle became the greatest tragedy of her life, and she ended up in prison. Now that the two of them had met again, there was no longer any love or passion left inside her. In a cold voice, she simply addressed him as Mr. Jean.